Hello, welcome to the May 2023 video edition of the Iowa General Fund Monthly Revenue Memo. My name is Jeff Robinson, Senior Fiscal Analyst for the Iowa Legislative Services Agency, the nonpartisan support agency of the Iowa Legislature. This video covers Iowa General Fund revenue for fiscal year 2023 year-to-date through June 2nd. Changes over the past year to deposit processing, as well as recent changes to the due dates for sales tax, have caused the traditional revenue analysis performed through the end of the last day of a given month to be incomplete and often misleading. For that reason, the LSA's monthly video memos present information to the first day of the following month, where the month-end deposit processing and due date changes no longer impact the analysis in a meaningful way. For the month of May 2023, the issues were eliminated with insurance tax deposit transactions processed on June 2nd. This table shows Iowa net general fund revenue through June 2nd of 2022 and 2023. Revenue growth has totaled $57 million on a fiscal year basis, representing 0.7% year-to-date growth. The most recent Revenue Estimating Conference estimate for total net receipts growth, excluding transfer revenue, for the entire fiscal year is negative 0.5%. So the year-to-date growth rate remains above what is needed to meet the latest revenue projection, although not nearly as far above projections as had been the case earlier in the fiscal year. By breaking overall net revenue into gross receipts and refunds, the current situation does look more positive. Gross revenues through June 2nd are up 3.1%, but the growth in net revenue comes in at only 0.7% due to a $116 million increase in tax refunds issued and a $121 million increase in sales tax transfers out of the general fund to the school infrastructure fund. The school infrastructure situation has been an issue for the entire fiscal year. While gross deposits of sales tax have increased 7% for the fiscal year, sales tax transfers out of the general fund to the school infrastructure fund have increased 25%. This chart shows fiscal year 2023 year-to-date net revenue growth as we calculate it for these monthly video memos. Growth through June 2nd is $228 million lower than the growth calculated 4 months ago. Negative net revenue growth over that period can be traced to a $445 million reduction in individual income tax net deposits since early February. That revenue source can be divided between payments associated with the just completed tax year 2022 through the filing of annual individual income tax returns and through the combination of withholding and estimate payments made for tax year 2023. This chart shows the combined total of tax year 2022 income tax net payments as returns were filed and processed this spring. Since for most years, tax refunds issued exceed the amount of payments made by taxpayers who owe additional tax when a return is filed, the net income of a filing tax season is traditionally negative. This chart shows the last 8 years of the combination of payments with income tax returns and tax refunds issued. This year, fiscal year 2023, is shown as a red line, while last year, fiscal year 2022, is shown as a dark black line. The remaining years shown are fiscal year 2016 through fiscal year 2021. This graph highlights two things. First, fiscal year 2022 tax returns were historically good for state tax revenue, and second, although 2023 looks poor by comparison, the year is actually fairly positive when compared to normal years. The combination of payments with tax returns and tax refunds account for $265 million of the $445 million individual income tax revenue reduction since early February. Iowa individual income tax changed significantly beginning January 1 of 2023, with a reduction in tax rates and the exemption of most retirement income from state income tax. This combination can be analyzed through the combination of withholding tax deposits and individual income tax quarterly estimate payments. This chart shows the moving total of that combination for the past 8 years, starting in early February and moving through June 2nd. Fiscal year 2022 is shown as the higher black line, while the current year, fiscal year 23, is shown in red. Tax payments associated with the current tax year account for $180 million of the $445 million reduction in net individual income tax since early February. In summary, net revenue on a fiscal year basis and excluding transfer revenue through June 2nd is up less than 1%, and while that rate of growth remains above the revenue estimating projection For the entire fiscal year, growth slowed significantly over recent months. A major driver of the revenue slowdown is found in the processing of tax year 2022 individual income tax return payments and refunds, but the slowdown is only significant when compared to the unusual growth experienced last year. Compared to other years, tax year 22 returns appear quite normal. Recent income tax reductions are taking hold in the general fund revenue stream, and this situation will continue through the end of this year and into the following fiscal years. Goodbye, thank you, and please check out the next monthly video memo in early July.